First and foremost, I want to say thank you to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. If it wasn't for him, this wouldn't be possible. Low Nose Boxing. Hit the like button, share the video, leave a comment, subscribe. We had a very, very, very good night, a very good weekend of boxing. And on Saturday night, like I said before, it was a big night for Puerto Rican boxing. You know, Edgar Berlanga was the headliner. Subaru Matias was on the card against Puerto. Shakur Stevenson was taking on William Cepeda. And I already touched on Subaru Matias, and now I want to touch on Shakur Stevenson's performance against William Cepeda. Shakur Stevenson showed great defense. He stood inside the pocket. He was catching punches. He was shooting with sharp counters. He dominated the fight. However, it was the most competitive fight for Shakur Stevenson, in my opinion. I gave William Cepeda maybe about 3 rounds, which speaks of the skill set of Shakur Stevenson and how dominant and elite he is. Because just to win 3 rounds against Shakur Stevenson and the way that William Cepeda did, that speaks a lot, man, because that's considered a good fight for Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson is not going to fight too many guys that's going to put up that type of output. But what I want to talk about for Shakur Stevenson is the fact that he is a Puerto Rican fighter, even though people don't really mention it amongst Puerto Rican fighters. And that's because Shakur Stevenson is not of the Puerto Rican culture, but blood-wise, his father's Puerto Rican. And the truth of the matter is, Shakur Stevenson is the most skilled and the most elite level Puerto Rican blood fighter since Miguel Cotto. Now, we still don't got a pure Puerto Rican fighter that's on that level of the culture. If Shakur Stevenson was a Puerto Rican of all the way, the culture and everything, Shakur Stevenson would definitely be considered the best Puerto Rican fighter right now in boxing. And you know what? I'm going to go on the limb to say that Shakur Stevenson is the best Puerto Rican fighter right now in boxing, even though he doesn't really represent the culture, even though he's half Puerto Rican. But you can't deny his skill set. And Shakur Stevenson is undefeated, not only in his career, but he's also undefeated against Mexicans. So you got to start asking yourself, could this fight go down as a potential rivalry between Puerto Rico and Mexico? Because at the end of the day, Shakur Stevenson is Boricua in terms of his blood, half Puerto Rican to it because of his dad. Shakur Stevenson defeated William Cepeda, who's a Mexican. He defeated Oscar Valdez, who's a Mexican. He defeated Joet Gonzalez, who's a Mexican. And we know in recent times, the rivalry between Puerto Rican fighters and Mexican fighters have been very one-sided, with the exception of Shakur Stevenson's fights against Mexican fighters and Danny Garcia's fights against Mexican fighters. Shakur Stevenson, for me, is on the pound-for-pound list, even though a lot of people don't have him on the list. I'm pretty sure they do now. Me personally, I always had him on the list for quite some time. And Shakur Stevenson, I would like to see more performances like this. I'm not saying I want to see Shakur Stevenson stay on the ropes and take punches, because he doesn't have to do that. But Shakur Stevenson is a sharp shooter. And at one point I said that Keyshawn Davis skips the line and should get a Gervonta Davis fight before Shakur Stevenson. Well, I got to backtrack, and I got to take that back, because Shakur Stevenson did show that he is an exciting fighter. We already know the skills were there, but the excitement was lacking. But nevertheless, Shakur Stevenson showed that he is definitely not only an elite level fighter, an A-level fighter, A plus. I would say A-level, not A plus yet, because, you know, there's still more growing and more improving. But Shakur Stevenson is the fighter that Gervonta Davis has to face. Now, if Gervonta Davis doesn't fight Shakur Stevenson, he still has options. Shakur Stevenson has the type of style that he could move up to multiple weight classes and become a world champion, because the man has elite level defense. Nevertheless, I can't wait to see what's next for Shakur Stevenson. He definitely solidified himself as the best Puerto Rican fighter in boxing right now. Shout out to Subaru Matias, who came off of a big victory as well. It was a very close fight against Puerto. Hell of a fighter. Puerto Rican boxing is gradually bouncing back. We just got to get a Puerto Rican from the island on the highest level, which we don't have right now. But what we do have is Shakur Stevenson, and it's time to appreciate Shakur for who he is. With that being said, hit the like button, share the video, leave a comment, subscribe. Low Nose Boxing. I'm out.